For Tuesday, and why do you want to know about it? Well, that depends on who you are and what your agenda is. Some people don't want you to know about it. That's why they get upset when you're informed. Some people will sneak in some really weird ballot issues on Super Tuesdays, and then their city just gets wrecked by awful human beings for like 4 years straight. Let's hope that doesn't happen. It is a possibility, though. We'll also talk about the primary elections, which are the big issue of Super Tuesday. There are bigger implications on this particular Super Tuesday with the Supreme Court and the Trump decision. And finally, we'll talk about delegates and what happens in the primary for both the Democratic and Republican parties. Now, hablamos español. Si quiere hablar conmigo, si necesita más información, estamos aquí para tú. Si quiere hablar inglés conmigo, si quiere practicar conmigo, por favor. All right, so the two main primary elections that are going on are the Democratic. That doesn't mean come vote time, you can't vote for a third party. And a lot of times that does happen. And I haven't really heard a lot of information on the Kennedy family much other than the Super Bowl ad. So we'll see how that plays out in the future as well. In the Democratic Party, Biden is leading with 206 delegates so far, and there's 1,968 needed to win the nomination. Nobody has won any other delegates besides other candidates in that regard. So in the United States of America, Biden is expected to be the Democratic Party's choice for their presidential nomination, which means he would then go to the vote in November, the final vote, which will be I don't want the primary results. Google, are you guys working? Or do you just like having everything broken? I changed my search results key term, and you gave me the same exact results. This one's interesting. Am I like on a movie set where I'm not allowed to have the real information? Google, or can you guys ever fix this? Because what I'm looking for is the date. And what you gave me was bullshit. Just like the YouTube algorithms. I'm supposed to be working on sales so that I can make some money, but instead Spectrum kicked me over to all of the consumer foundations so that I can give them money. I understand why everybody thinks it's okay to steal all of the advertising revenue from a wearing media company that legitimately owns the advertising that we sell. You're going to start running into some huge issues. All right. The California Secretary of State says that the general election is on November 5th, 2024. Let's look at the Florida general election. The Florida Department of State suggests Tuesday, November 5th, 2024. Now, November 5th has traditionally been the day for all the rest, but it's best to stay current with any of this information. And if you are looking for this type of information, you want to look for the .gov websites. Make sure you also have a secure connection before you deliver any type of information over to another website, including bank accounts and all that stuff. And make sure you're registered to vote. If you are a registered voter, traditionally, You don't have to have your address updated. You just have to find your power bill, your old license, which you should have, or your old passport or your old ID, and you should take it to your current precinct, which is the one that you look up, which is around the corner from you. Usually that's the one that has the most signs. um, when you get to that, you just let them know that you need to update your address and that this is your current precinct based off of your location, which is a proof of power bill. And then you will be updated instantly and they'll allow you to vote. Make sure you know your voters' rights. Number one, if you are an immigrant from another location and you are working on a visa, you do not have voters' rights. You do not. Unfortunately, you need to go through the federal process to become a United States citizen. Si se viven aquí, pero no tienes Estados Unidos citizenship, necesita hablar a las personas que trabajan para... ¿Dónde está? Un momento. Las personas que trabajan para los Estados Unidos necesita citizenship. All right, uscis.gov. Dice, visita uscis.gov y hablan a las personas. Si después de, si viven en los Estados Unidos y están citizen, vote. All right. Other information I can give you. The Supreme Court nominations are another big reason why you want to look into who is going to be running for the president of the United States of America. On each side, the Republican Party down here says that Trump is leading with 273 delegates, and he has 1,215 remaining to win the nomination. He has Nikki Haley on 43. That's interesting. That could turn into something if she wins. Any others? Super Tuesday will be big for that nomination. If you're a Republican, you're probably going to really be interested in this one. Donald Trump has 273 delegates, and Nikki Haley has 43. All the rest of them look like they dropped out, and there were no other delegates won on this one. So what we're seeing over here is a little bit of a competition on the Republican side. You might start seeing more ad money through these delegates, through these candidates. They probably spent a bunch of ads in the different locations to drive votes. I wonder where Nikki Haley has been spending her money and focusing on her ad revenue. And I know nothing about her platform. She's from South Carolina, a governor from South Carolina, which is a very, very, very traditionally Republican area. Okay, so this one says, will Nikki Haley drop out after Super Tuesday? That all depends on how Super Tuesday goes for her. If Trump wins all of the nominations, then there's really nothing that she's going to be able to do moving forward in that regard. That's why it's called Super Tuesday. Now, nominations and delegates are for the primary elections only. The real election, the general election, where we decide the president of the United States, happens on November 5th. And until then, you won't know who is going to be the next president or if the current president will remain president for the next 4 years. And then after that, what happens? If we do get Biden for the next 4 years, what will be the 4 years after that? Who will be primed and pushed through the Democratic Party? Who is making a big push now to get their names out there? I think Hunter Biden has done some pretty great work lately, and I believe that that guy is doing really good investigative work, which is something we don't get a lot of when we have a very aggressive. When somebody really wants you to aggressively make a decision right then and there, they're usually some type of swindler. So, like, they usually definitely have some other type of agenda going on. And you don't generally want those people being the decision makers unless you are in an actual life and death situation. If you're trapped in war, you want to make aggressive decisions very rapidly for yourself. If you are trapped around people that are trying to submit you to war and they want to make aggressive decisions around you, it's up to you to separate yourself from those people and use the tools that you have to make sure that they are no longer allowed to attack other people. This one will be an interesting voters year. This one will be terribly upsetting for a few people. And we are now in a transition period where the baby boomers have started to disintegrate in numbers. It's not anything that anybody wanted. Time goes on and life happens. So start thinking about that in the future. There was a huge transfer of wealth over the past 4 years. You have to think about Asian markets that are trying to dominate our own financial markets through macroeconomics that are unattainable on every level. And we have to stop people from blocking open and free communication. You must vote this year. And if you are to the today on Super Tuesday, continue on with us and learn what it's like to be a real human being and the decisions that you've all made. Until we get a chance to figure out exactly who's going to be on the ballot for the general election in 2024. Until we start looking into some more of the political endeavors that are happening. Marijuana is huge this year on the ballot in a lot of different areas. There's going to be a lot of changes. And the biggest issue that we have with this is that the local crop suppliers have now become the banks of the United States of America in certain locations. And it has just led to drug war after drug war after drug war. And while Florida has made huge leaps and bounds, growing from, I think, 25th or 26th most populous to third in the United States of America, there are still a lot of things that need to be fixed on the drug trade issues. Nobody cares about them. It's far easier to legalize this stuff federally and get that money supply back into federal hands so that they can make their final decisions on it than it is to go to war with local environments and cause another civil war, which the feds will win without a doubt. We'd always all been about slowing down, tranquilo, relaxing, enjoying your familia. It's never been about killing people. And when it becomes about killing people, that's when throwing gasoline up your nose is not really something we give a shit about. Nor do we want our American citizens methed out of their heads, not able to move. If you want to sell Mexican meth, sell it to people in Mexico and turn your citizenship into a bunch of idiots. If you want to sell opium addictions to China, that's between you guys. We will no longer allow people to invade our market, get us addicted to your drugs, and send our money back to you. It will not happen again. And if the Reyes family is part of this, their distribution channels will be disrupted by the FBI themselves. Until I get a chance to take down another criminal mob boss family and show you mutants that there's literally nothing to be scared of. Thanks for watching, everybody. We can't wait to go exploring it with you on Super Tuesday.